how do you bounce back after a disappointing sexual experience?
Woo, this is an interesting question. I can think of a lot of shades of this. I think the first thing I want to say about this, let's because disappointing is like, was this like seriously disappointed? Did something go horribly wrong? Was something
No,
painful? Was this just a
my hunch
not
was just
ideal,
like it just wasn't. It was
not the
like
best,
mediocre sex. I mean, we'll say what
mediocre?
we do.
What do we do?
Well, if we just have one that is just like it's fine, a little bit of a dud, we're usually just like, hey, we got it done.
Yeah,
A little high five.
yeah. I'd be like, not my finest work, but we did it.
I feel like we usually joke about it where we congratulate ourselves. We're like, you know what? We still did it. It was connecting. We, had that experience. Not every single time. I guess I want to start there. Like, let's back up for a second and let's just normalize that not every single time you have sex is going to be amazing. I think we have incredible, epic, next level sex. And sometimes we have experiences that are just kind of a dud. And like
Yeah,
sometimes we can tell, sometimes ahead of time where we're both like, we're a little tired or just like not super feeling it, but both decided to have sex anyways.
yeah. It's like,
But
let's get this done.
yeah, but sometimes it's like, it kind of surprises you out of nowhere. Like it seemed like the vibes were right and everything was going good. And then it just ends up being like, oh, that was like fine, but not as good as I thought it was going to be going in. So like, let's normalize. It's okay to have a dud every now and then. It's totally fine.
Yeah. The first thing I want to say is like, this is a mindset shift that I think is
Yeah.
required. This is a mindset problem. This is an acceptance problem. Like we need to be able to accept that sex is not always perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That if sex were always perfect, then that would just be average.
Ooh.
Right? Like the reason that we have good experiences is because there is a baseline or, a general, like an average. And that by having that allows us to be able to judge, oh, that was better than usual, or that was worse than usual, or less. I don't want to say worse, like worse sex. It was just like, not as good as it usually is. So I think that there's an acceptance piece that like, yeah, we're not fully in control of this. We can't have perfection all the time. Sometimes things will be better. Sometimes things will be worse. And it's like shifting your mindset to accept that this is the reality of sex in a long-term relationship. And so once you have that mindset shift, then it becomes a much easier to bounce back. I mean, in theory, once you have accepted that perspective, you don't really need to bounce back because it's there's nothing to bounce back from. Oh, that was just a normal sexual experience to have, that it was not the very best one I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that perspective shift can be really helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that also, what you were saying, the acknowledging it, just the simple fact of, yeah, not, that wasn't our finest work together, but it was still, but then think of a compliment, make it a little compliment sandwich.
That's what I like about what we do is like we just congratulate each other like, hey, you know what? We got it done. And it feels connecting rather than us feeling embarrassed or retreating to separate ends of the house or like, oh my God, I can't believe we had this disappointing sex. We turn it into a little lighthearted joke and like, hey, we did it. We got
Yeah.
back in the saddle. We made that time, even though we didn't think we had it. Like, go us.
Hell yeah. Now, if it was like on the more serious end of disappointing, like there was something that was actively unpleasurable or painful or uncomfortable, that's not something where you just hold it in and expect to bounce back. Like that is where you got to have some kind of conversation about that, of saying, hey, when XYZ happened, that didn't feel very good for me. That didn't feel very safe for me. So
yeah. And I would suggest having that conversation outside of the bedroom at a later time. So don't do it immediately while you guys are still naked in the bed. Go out of the bedroom, loop back around to it and say like, hey, I wanted to talk about, what just happened.
Yeah. Unless you do need to stop in the moment. Like if you are Like
Yeah, if we're talking about
Vanessa's
something much
not,
more
yeah,
serious.
Vanessa's not saying just grin and bear it and then talk about it later.
No, no. I mean, if we're talking something like in the middle, you're in pain or you're not feeling safe or whatever it is, like definitely stop it and talk about it then and there. But I'm talking more something much less serious. Like let's just say your partner tried out a new oral sex technique that you just like weren't really loving. I would say wait until you're outside of the bedroom and bring it up really gently and just say something like, "Hey, when XYZ happened, this is what I felt," or, next time I'd rather that we do this, or, I really appreciated that you tried that, but it just wasn't my
Not
jam.
my favorite one.
Yeah. So yeah, if there's something to learn, something to share with your partner, something that you want to do differently next time, of course talk about it. But I think the vast majority of these situations are where it's just people are getting a little too in their heads thinking they need to like optimize everything when the reality is you're going to have times that just aren't the greatest. They're a little bit of a disappointment and that's okay. Just roll on to the next one.
Yeah. So, like, long story short, number one, like, accept that it will not always be perfect, that it is normal to have somewhat disappointing or not ideal experiences. Then, after you have, had that mindset shift, if you are still feeling like something happened that was like not just a normal sort of like high or low,
Mm-hmm.
then bring that up
Yeah.
and talk about that.